Hello and welcome to the Women Thrive podcast. I'm so excited to have you here. And today I have a very special guest, one of our speakers for the Women Thrive Summit, Kim Woods. Hello, Kim. How are you?
I am so good. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm very excited about our conversation today and learning a little bit more about intuitive business strategies. So for those of you who may not know Kim Woods yet, so Kim is the intuitive business strategist, author, and our VIP speaker for the Women Thrive Summit. So she teaches high-performing entrepreneurs to know, like, and trust themselves, creating radical levels of satisfaction in every aspect of their lives. With 25 years of C-suite business experience, overseeing over $65 million in sales, Kim advised more than 150 corporate executives, influenced over 300,000 team members, and transformed 350 business leaders. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. Welcome, Kim.
It is so good to be here. I am so happy to be part of this summit. I can't tell you how wonderful it is to be part of an initiative, a project, a passion that is bringing women together like you're doing. It's fabulous to be part of it.
Thank you so much. And I know you love collaboration and also supporting people. And what I really loved when we first chatted is how you combine business strategy with intuition. And I think it's so powerful. I know personally, I have led my business with intuition, making the right decisions. So tell me a little bit more. Take me back in how you got started, particularly in this area of business.
Yes, it wasn't something I anticipated. It was, I was having a beautiful, successful corporate career, and I thought that was going to be my trajectory. And I never thought I was going to even open a business. And then, of course, the universe conspired to change that entire direction. So my son was born. He was my first, and, no big deal, right? I was going to go back into corporate, and yet he had significant issues. And that knocked me off kilter, and it required me to make very many different decisions. And yet it was more than just, am I going to stay home for a little bit to take care of him? It was, I needed to rewire his brain-body connection. And so that is not something that you think of when you approach motherhood. And so I needed to rely on my intuition in order to be able to follow my own guidance to say, you know what, the doctors aren't right that he's not going to be able to throw and catch a ball or have a normal social life. He's going to actually have a typical life, and I'm going to be able to put that scenario strategy together. And so I did. I mean, it took 8 long years before we saw transformative results. I had to marry Eastern practices with Western methods. And in the meantime, I completely transformed who I was, as well as him. He's thriving. Everything's doing great. And I realized that with that, I needed to bring this into my client work. I needed to do this in a major way, because when you combine intuition with strategy in life and business, it transforms your entire life. And so you're satisfied, you're attracting your soulmate clients, you're making better decisions, you're collaborating instead of, competing, and it really gets results that are almost miraculous.
Wow, what an experience. And really, when we transform our own lives, as you say, there is new passion that is born to help others, because you have seen the transformative results within your own life and, dealing with your son's condition as well, which is quite powerful.
Exactly. Yeah. It was earth-changing for me. There was no way I could go back and do traditional business strategy because it just felt so hollow. So making intuition the foundation, I will have to say that was definitely took me a beat, because coming out as an intuitive more than a decade ago, it wasn't something that the world was necessarily embracing. So I'm really excited for these times, because the world is ready, and it is really exciting to be doing this work at this time.
Do you think we're born with this ability, or do you think it's something that we develop?
Both. I believe that every single person is intuitive, period. And then I believe that we forget, because our mind takes over. We want evidence that's real in the world. And so we'll convince ourselves that wasn't real, that gut instinct. No, you'll ignore it. And what ends up happening is your intuition starts shutting down, because it's not given the space that it needs to be able to speak to you. And so when you open yourself up and tap into it, this is where you can develop it. And this is something that we do with most of our business leaders. you realize that the conversation that you have is so incredibly powerful. It's like having the best advisor you'd ever want. It's like having like a jet pack of energy, and it is a magnet to the marketplace.
So how does one begin with tapping into their intuition?
That is such a great question. So there are ways that many people talk about: meditation, breath, yoga, going outside in nature. Those are all wonderful. And yet the business leaders that I work with, they're time starved. They've got a lot of competing priorities. And so I've come up with the intuitive strategy method, which is going through that: do you know, like, and trust yourself? And as you go through those three pillars, you actually develop your intuition in ways that feels more active. And for people that are high performing, entrepreneurs especially, action is the way that they can lean in and merge with any resistance that they may have, and then create space and allow that deep knowing to sink in.
Wow. So it's really about knowing, liking, and trusting ourselves.
It really is. And if any business person out there is going to say, wait a minute, I know what knowing, liking, and trusting is, but it's usually outward facing towards the customer.
Yes.
And that is wonderful. That is effective. And yet imagine turning that inward. And when you know, like, and trust yourself, again, that's when you become a magnet. That's when you become so galvanizing to your audience that people can't help but lean in and hopefully come in further and become clients.
And it sounds like a really powerful leadership tool. So how does it play a role in leadership?
It is actually fundamental. I mean, now in these times, as I said, the world is ready, right? The world is ready for that intuitive lens. The world is ready to marry the feminine strengths and gifts with the masculine ones. And so the new way of leading is here. And so when you know, like, and trust yourself, you're able to lead your teams. You're able to communicate more effectively. You're able to, I like to say, pluck strategy from the stratosphere. You get creative insights and flashes of brilliance that you wouldn't get otherwise. And from a client perspective, you will have from rabid fans and your followers to clients that are unbelievably loyal and become referral partners. It really is such a powerful, I want to say program, but it's like a powerful transformation that your inner authority is guiding you every step of the way. So you pivot instead of, reaching for this tool or reaching for that success method. You're much more solidified and you are following your own purpose in a meaningful way.
I really feel like whenever I have followed my own intuition and you're listening to your inner guidance, it's like you have that blind faith.
Exactly.
And you just move forward and somehow it's the right decision.
Absolutely. Right. That somehow, that's the thing. That's what we want to solidify, is that somehow, so you don't go into doubt in your mind, but that you have that inner belief. And you're right. It is a leap of faith a lot of times. You hear stories about very successful business owners, and it is always, well, I don't know why I did that, but I happened to do this, or I met this person, serendipitously, and it was the best collaboration or the best connection I could have made. And so it's almost as if you're conspiring on your own behalf, and you don't have to see every single step of the way, but you do know that the path that you're blazing is the one that is right for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like, that really comes back to the strategy aspect.
Absolutely.
Combining that, because when it comes to intuition, it comes to a lot of business decisions. So let's say, how do we move our business forward? Or when do we exit our businesses? Or which direction? Because sometimes we come at the crossroads at some pivotal times in our businesses, and we have to make that decision. Or even when it comes to hiring people, it sounds like this is strategy related, but can we lean into the intuition in those moments? And how does it go?
Absolutely. It's a combination of both, because you're right. Your intuition is going to open up many opportunities for you. And yet from a resource perspective or a time perspective, you may not be able to prosecute each one of those opportunities. So this is where you can lean on your strategy. And I say we put pillars in place for people that are based on their values, based on their intentions, based on their own purpose and how they want to see things unfold. Quite frankly, based on their energetic signature too, because everybody has an energetic signature. And so for one person, it might be, let's do these three things simultaneously. And that would be wonderful for them. And that makes so much sense. And for yet that another person, those same three things would be terrible for them to do at the same time because their energy just doesn't support that. So this is where the strategy comes in. You can put things on a timeline. You can prioritize them. You can analyze where your resources are. And I like to say strategy is just widening the lens to say it's across disparate, industries maybe, or disparate opportunities or timelines. And you can just put it right along that. And you can say, okay, how am I don't like to use the word performing. Let's use the word creating. How am I creating against that timeline or that strategy?
Do you think this approach, strategy, however you want to call it, our intuition, our inner guidance is quite commonly overlooked strength that we may have? That a lot of people, as you say, as we get really busy with life, we kind of overlook it.
Yes. And what I like to do is I like to press those that are just coming into our world by asking them, have they ever listened to their gut instinct? Now, gut is a little bit of a misnomer because people feel their instinct in different ways, but instinct people appreciate and understand. And that's the first yes or no. I like to call it the gateway to intuition because your instinct is the one that is going to kick in. Should I hire this person or not? Should I, do this, even this podcast or not? And you'll get an inkling. You'll just get your goosebumps, maybe hair in the back of your neck, your temperature will change. And usually it's in the negative because the negative is more forceful. So you'll normally feel that, oop, no. And if we follow that, then it gets stronger and we can begin that conversation to then enter through the gates to have a conversation with your intuition. And yes, it's overlooked, but it doesn't need to be. And there are ways to stay in tune, ways to tap in, ways to follow, and then ways to rely on your intuition.
Wow, I love that. As you're speaking, I remember times in my own life where I felt that tug of, no, this is not for you. This is not the right path. Or this feels really good. This feels easy, aligned, effortless, and in flow. And if you stop and pause and tune into that feeling, I feel that our gut instinct is really there to guide you. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Sure thing.
So I know you'll be speaking and you're one of our VIP speakers for the Women Thrive Summit. What will you be sharing at our event? I'm very excited about your session because I know it's going to be transformational and powerful, but I want to hear from you. What will you be sharing with our audience on the summit?
Yeah, I'm going to be sharing how intuitive strategy can make you millions. And that sounds like an audacious statement, but it's true. I've seen it personally. I've seen it throughout all of the clients that we have, our entire book of business. And I know for a fact that people can go from a 5-figure to a 6-figure, from a 6-figure to a 7-figure, 7-figure to 8-figure. And so it's a matter of understanding the key elements of it. And that's what I'm going to talk about.
Wow, I love it. I can't wait. So for anyone that may be starting out in business or thinking about starting out in business, you have so many years experience in strategy and, now working with intuition, more, kind of energetic way of working and being. What would you share with someone just starting out in business?
I would say that you are passionate about something and it's almost bigger than you are. And so I would have them remind themselves that yes, even though that passion feels so big and it feels as if the impact that you want to make is so incredible and it can be daunting at times, it's come to you and you've come to it because you're ready. And so don't ever forget that. Don't forget yourself. Don't forget your passion. Don't forget that what you crave craves you, because it wouldn't have come to you and you wouldn't have come to it if you weren't ready. And so just really tapping into that, even make it your mantra if you need to, post it on your mirror or post it on your computer, because there will come times where you'll feel like it's too much. It's just too big, or it's too much, or there's too many things to do. Because remember, especially if you're starting a new business, you're creating something out of thin air.
Yeah.
Right. And so be compassionate and kind to yourself to realize that, okay, this is big. It's sometimes daunting, and you don't know everything, and that's okay. So take it one step at a time, take it one bite at a time, and celebrate the wins that you have, even if they're the most minor win that you were able to set up a scheduler or figure out how to set up an email system or something like that, because each little thing matters, and that's how you build an empire.
Wow. Yep. Every little step forward just gets you closer to that goal that you're trying to reach. And I've been there where, and the interesting thing that as you're working and building your business, you keep working on it and tapping away, and you don't realize how far you have come. Because these little things mount up together and create the thing that you have. So you don't see the progress because you're still in it.
Absolutely.
So really powerful.
Absolutely. And you're looking at the gaps. You're looking at what's next and where you want to go. And, oh, gee, this didn't materialize the way I thought it would. And so part of intuitive strategy is celebrating your wins and celebrating yourself and looking at the past quarter or the past year. And it is night and day. I mean, think of where you were a year ago, right? I mean, all of us can do that and say, wow, we have done so many things and gotten so quote unquote far. And sometimes that length can't be measured in miles or can't be measured in numbers. It's just the feeling. You could have added so much more power to your strategies or your solutions, and that still is making incredible progress.
Yeah. And, every week there is something, and even small, if you write them down, those wins, you'll look back a month, 2, 3 later, and you realize just how much you accomplished. So powerful.
Absolutely.
So this year, our Women Thrive Summit theme is all about women rising and thriving. And I love this, the theme that you're talking about, intuitive leadership. How can intuitive leadership play a part in women really rising and starting to thrive this year and beyond?
This year is all about connection and collaboration. Literally, the energies are all about it. And I'm just going to say it. Women are better at it than men, and that's okay. We're not dissing men. Men are great at lots of things. Women just this happens to be one of our superpowers. And so let us not forget ourselves. Let us not forget that there is no such thing as competition, that there's only collaboration and connection, and the influence that you'll gain and the opportunities that you'll be able to access are just unparalleled when you work together.
I truly agree with that. And I've seen the power of collaboration between the speakers so far leading up to the event. Mm-hmm. And even that in itself, just 30 of us or 34 of us speakers, and just those collaborations and connections and networking and just being able to discuss some important subjects that, we don't really get to discuss in open forums enough. So I'm very, very excited. And I'm so grateful for you being part of this journey.
I am so grateful for the way that you have set this up. It is genius. So I just want you to know that I'm wildly impressed, and thank you for letting me be part of it.
I appreciate it. Well, we have Women Thrive Summit coming up in March. So it's the 21st to the 26th of March this year in 2022. And if you want to hear a little bit more about intuitive strategies to actually start making a lot of money in your business, how you can tap into the superpowers that you already have within yourself, Kim Woods will be sharing her secrets on her talk during our summit. So do make sure you go over to the womenthrivesummit.com and save your spot. There will be more than 30 amazing speakers sharing their stories, their strategies, and various things that you can start to apply in your business right away. Plus, we will be having networking opportunities, live speaker panels, and other ways to engage and transform your business. So really, this is 1 week that it is so worth to take away from your business to work on yourself and your business so you can have that deep transformation and come back to your business all renewed. Kim, I would love for our audience to also connect with you because what you shared today was really, really inspiring and important. So if anybody listening to this podcast would like to actually get in touch with you, how would they do that?
Best way to do that is to go to my website, kimwoods.com, or you can follow me on Insta or Facebook at Kim Woods Channel, or LinkedIn, Kim E. Woods. We're out there all the time. We're doing all the things. There are free gifts, and digital downloads and wonderful tools that you can just give yourself access to and see if we have a connection and just come into my world. It's really awesome in there.
Oh, thank you so much. Any last parting thoughts before we close out for today?
I cannot emphasize enough what a gift each and every person is, and what a gift women are to the business world and the world at large. And so please don't forget that ever.
That is so empowering, and I love that. Well, thank you so much, Kim, for sharing your insights today, sharing your story. I can't wait to hear more from you during our summit in March. And for all of you listening, do make sure you subscribe to our podcast, leave a comment or review, and also, of course, connect with Kim across her social media channels. And I look forward to seeing you at a summit in March. Take care for now.